of Chanukah. Here we are, pretty exciting. We're more than half of the way through with Hanukkah. This is one of the most important holidays of the entire year so far. Hanukkah, oh man, this camera is pretty brutal. Let's take it. Nice, welcome back. So yeah, I mean, Hanukkah is one of the most important holidays of the entire year, basically. Um, it's the holiday of lights and miracles. It says, yeah, basically it's the time when the Assyrian Greeks tried to make the Jews forget about the Torah, but it didn't work because the Jews are more successful in adding more lights to the world, and yeah, pretty much that's all there is to it. So maybe for now let's just do a little song while we get more viewers, and then we'll do some stuff. Man, um, yeah. So try to play the song, but it's not working. Anyway, so yeah, Hanukkah, 8 nights, because really 8 is beyond the natural order of reality. There's like 7 days of the week that the Creator made the natural order of everything. And then in Hanukkah, when the oil lasted for 8 days, that was because Matisyahu and his camaraderies, when they fought the war against the Greeks, when they fought the physical and spiritual battle, they went outside of their own nature. There were only a few people, but they went up against an entire Syrian Greek army, which didn't make any sense logically. But they knew that the Creator was on their side. And they just went beyond any calculations of what they should do. They just knew that the light of the Torah is the only victory that could possibly exist. So when they went out of their own limitations, then, so to speak, the Creator went out of his limitations in response. And that is the idea of the miracles that happened in Hanukkah, where the oil burned for 8 days, because it represents a spiritual victory of spiritual light over darkness. Because darkness is really the secular wisdom that the Greeks were trying to influence the Jews to learn in order to get them to go far away from the Torah. Because we know that secular knowledge defiles the soul, and it's evil if it's not used properly. So the Greeks were trying to get the Jews' souls to be contaminated with their evil secular knowledge that the Greeks had in order to forget about the Torah. But the victory of Hanukkah represents the idea that the Torah is light, and the mitzvos, the commandments of the Torah, are a candle. That the true light that exists is not from secularized wisdom. It's only from the Torah's wisdom. Only the Torah is the true light. And that when the Assyrian Greeks, when the Assyrian Greeks tried to force the Jews to forget about the Torah, they wanted to get rid of the spirituality of the Torah. The Greeks also studied the Torah because in fact, let's still backtrack a little bit. In fact, the Bible Trivia was one of the first people that I'm aware of that made the connection of different events in Greek history for why Hanukkah happened. Really, 100 years before the Hanukkah miracle, there was this concept of the Septuagint, which was the first translation of the Torah into any other language besides for Hebrew since Moses. Really, Moses himself wrote the Torah in 70 different languages, but those other translations were lost. And then for a long time, only the Jews knew about the Torah because it was only in Hebrew. But then there was this evil king named Ptolemy, Greek king Ptolemy, And he essentially forced the Jews, some rabbis, to translate the Torah into Greek in order for them to criticize the Torah and study it with their evil intentions that the Greeks had at the time. And then, yeah, someone wrote in the comments, Jewish chandelier, exactly. Um, so once the Greeks had this translation of the Torah known as the Septuagint, which was the first translation of the Torah into any other language besides for Hebrew since Moses, then they started questioning the Torah, and they didn't really understand that it was like the intellect of the Creator. They were trying to criticize it in the same way they would criticize like man-made works, which didn't make any sense. And so there's essentially 100 years of Greek criticism of the Torah since they had the translation from the rabbis in the times of the Greek King Ptolemy. And then after about 100 years of that, that is when Hanukkah started, when the Greeks made all these decrees against the Jews. They didn't like the Jews keeping the laws of the Torah. Mainly, the Greeks weren't completely opposed to the Torah in general, but because the Greeks were intellectual. They knew, okay, we got to do like intellectual laws, not stealing, not murdering. It makes sense. But certain commandments of the Torah, like not eating like pork and like doing circumcisions and stuff like that, it's beyond the intellect of mortal comprehension. The reasoning of it is infinitely beyond this universe. So the Greeks did not really agree with that. They didn't agree with the idea of doing commandments that they didn't understand the reasoning for. This is according to the blessings we say during the time of Hanukkah. We say that in the time of Hanukkah, the Greeks tried to make the Jews forget the chukim, the statutes of the Torah, not just the entire Torah, but they specifically made them try to forget the statutes of the Torah, the commandments of the Torah, that whose reasoning is not known. Only the Creator knows the reasoning for them. And then eventually, like maybe Kabbalists or when Moshiach comes, will get more understanding bit by bit. But ultimately, the reasoning is still infinitely not known. It's just because it's the will of the Creator. And there is reasoning for it, but it's beyond the reasoning of mortal comprehension. And not only mortal comprehension, but any comprehension of creations. But we will still know that when Mashiach comes, but that's a different issue. Point is, the Greeks were opposed to the Jews just doing the commandments that they didn't really understand. Like, oh, why are you not eating pork? Why are you doing circumcisions? Why are you keeping kosher? Like, stuff like that. It's like commandments that they didn't really understand why. So that's the Greeks tried to make all these decrees against the Jews to forget about the Torah being the word of the Creator. And they wanted the Jews just to intellectually criticize the Torah, just like the evil Greek philosophers did. And that was the darkness that happened. But then the Mattityahu and a few of his friends were just a few Jews that stood up against an entire Syrian Greek army. And they won, basically. Even though it didn't make any sense for them to be able to do so. But they just didn't even think about any calculations. They literally just went outside of their own nature to conquer, overcome the Greeks, to have the spiritual victory. And then they did have the spiritual victory when first of all, they had a physical victory when they beat the Greeks. And then that was also a spiritual victory to show that the Torah is the only true truth that exists. So maybe let's read some stuff, possibly. So let's go to let's go to osmos.com. Let's see what we can read. So it says I almost had a translation of this, so I'm not sure if it actually got processed yet. There's the translation of some parts of it, but not all. Let's see. So this, you go to osmos.com, then AI books, to find, right now we're reading Torah or about Hanukkah. Maybe we'll read some other stuff a little bit while we wait for the candles to burn. Because the main thing is to publicize the miracle. Or we could learn, we could also learn other stuff. Maybe let's do, I just turned to this page randomly. Let's do some Tanya, I guess. Oh, brutal. Because I actually remember them. Okay. It's hard to navigate, but it's good. Yeah, I'll just show you how to get to it. So first of all, let's go to new tab. Then actually, let's just go back to this here. So this is in Torah or Hanukkah in osmos.com. It has some. Oh, it does have translations. Look at that. It's a miracle. So it's a Hanukkah miracle. Look, because not all the translations went. So let's try to backtrack a little bit to see how far the translations go. No, not that far, but it's all good. Anyway, so what is it talking about? Okay, let's see if it says anything about actual Hanukkah. If not, we'll have to go somewhere else. That's all good. Brutal. Yeah, I had some issues with the translations. Whatever, one day. It's getting there. Okay, this is a little bit out there because I'm not sure if it actually is accurate. Whatever, it's all good. Okay, no, it's not really working. But whatever, we'll get to that. But you could eventually read some translations here one day. In the meantime, let's see what else we have. Hasidus. Let's do some Tanya for now. Kutei Amarim, because this is what we started a long time ago. Not that long ago, but it's good. So which sections are we at? So right. So yeah, let's go to chapter 4. We're talking about how like every soul has different garments of the soul with which it interacts with the Creator. And really, when the soul does commandments, this is like related to Hanukkah in a way because you see that the Torah is light and commandments are a candle, and the soul has to like enclose itself into the commandments to shine. That's what it says other places, but this Tanya is somewhat related to it in a way. It says so every soul has 3 garments. What does the soul do? The soul has 3 different things it does, which are thinking, speaking, and action. As the soul does 613 commandments of the Torah. Because really the Torah, we said the Torah is light and the commandments are candles, which is related to Hanukkah somewhat. And when a candle is like oil and a wick. And it says other places, it says that really the soul is also like a candle, as it says in Proverbs, the soul of a man is a candle of the Creator. And the candle of the soul needs the oil of the commandments. In one aspect, the candle of the soul is like the wick that needs the oil of the commandments in order to make the light. So basically, the commandments are what connect us to the Creator. When a person does all the commandments of the Torah that require action, and the speech commandments when someone speaks about the 613 commandments and their laws, and when they think about the commandments regarding some commandments we have to think about, like learning Torah requires proper thought to understand it. So when someone does action, speaking, and thinking about the commandments of the Torah, then all the person's soul also has, just like there's 613 commandments, there's also 613 parts of a person's soul. And that person's soul has 613 commandments. Oh, 1% battery left. This is brutal. So just like there's 613 commandments, every soul has 613 parts. And each one of the 613 parts of the soul go into the 613 commandments when they do that. When they do the commandments. And when someone, and Chacham bin Das is the understanding and the wisdom and the knowledge, like the power of intellect of the soul. The intellect of one's soul becomes enclosed in understanding the Torah. When someone learns the Torah, then the intellect of their soul goes into the Torah. because there's different levels of the Torah understanding, and when they understand the Torah different ways, then that connects the different parts of one's intellect to the Torah and the Creator, and one's emotions, known as midot for some reason, also, which are like love and fear of the Creator, and the branches of love and fear go and become enclosed and connected to the Creator through the commandments of learning Torah and doing commandments, because love of the Creator is the root of all 248 action commandments called positive commandments. Some things the Creator commanded us to do, like He told us to do certain actions, and some things the Creator told us not to do. So there's 248 things that the Creator commanded the Jews to do, and that corresponds to the aspect of love. Like, why do we do what the Creator wants us to do? Because the soul loves the Creator, and without love, the action mitzvahs we do don't have any true substance. One truly fulfills them. One who really truly fulfills them is only someone who truly loves the Creator, and because he loves the Creator, he wants to cleave and connect to the Creator, and it's impossible to cleave to the Creator except through the 248 action commandments, through the commandments that the Torah, when the Creator told us to do stuff. That's the only possible way to ever connect to the Creator. One can meditate about the deepest things all day and all night, but they will never get anywhere remotely close to the Creator through any other endeavors that one could ever possibly do. The only way that they could get closer to the Creator at all is through the commandments, where the Creator told us to do stuff, and we do it. So the point is that when we do the commandments, when we think about the commandments, when we speak about them, and when we feel them and do them, then those different parts of the soul literally become one with the Creator. Let's just do a little bit more, because it's getting late and early. And the commandments are like the limbs of the king. The commandments, so to speak, are like the limbs of the Creator, even though the Creator doesn't have a body, but it's metaphorically like the life force, how the Creator expresses himself in this world. And then when someone has fear and awe of the Creator, that's the reason why one would refrain from doing things the Creator does not want to do, because they rebel. They don't want to rebel against the Creator. Or someone has such a deep fear and awe that he realizes the Creator is everywhere, and that Hashem sees everything and stuff like that. So they're afraid of going against the Creator. And by going against the Creator means that one is afraid to do any of the abominations that the Creator hates, which are considered the things that the Creator told the Jews and other people in some cases to stay away from doing. And then it says these evil abominations that exist, the only way that they could exist is only through people doing them and people connecting themselves to them. If people didn't do any bad things, then evil would not exist. So it's one of the questions, why does the Creator create evil? The Creator doesn't really create evil necessarily. He creates the possibility for evil, but the only way it could actually have any real existence is just for the people doing it. That's why the Creator told us to not do certain things, in order that we don't give life force to the evil forces. And these three garments, which are thought, speech, and action, are so when we do and think and talk about learning Torah and doing commandments, even though they're just called the garments of the soul, but they're actually greater than the soul themselves. People say, the soul is so great, it's connected to the Creator. But no, the thought and the speech and the action that the soul does when learning Torah is actually greater than the soul itself. Because the soul is only a limitation and a radiance of the Creator, while the thought, speech, and action of the soul learning Torah is connecting to the essence of the Creator, the Atzmus. And with that, we're going to take a little break. So happy Chanukah.